When you think about the word recruit and retain, everybody focuses on that. Their heart's in the right place. They're trying to do the right things. But recruitment, if you're talking about recruitment, I believe, in my opinion, you're already failing.
What do you think that the Costcos of the world are doing that are applicable to the small business? What can a small to medium business owner, chief revenue officer, chief marketing officer do to compete, to be that lighthouse, to attract great talent for their organization? Welcome to Outsource to Profits. I have a fantastic guest here. Charbel, do you mind telling the world who you are, what you do, and how you help the world?
Yes. So, Jamie, thank you so much for having me on your show. Who I am. I'm a father of three amazing children, a husband of the most amazing wife. I've personally worked in healthcare for 2 decades, starting as a frontline practitioner, paramedic in the province of Nova Scotia, worked up through the ranks and different opportunities to ultimately leading the operation here in Nova Scotia for the ground operation. I had international opportunities to lead an operation across the New England area and Boston. And over the last year, I transitioned into long-term care with an amazing organization called Northwood that focuses around providing dignified living for seniors, everything from affordable housing to home care to long-term care.
Fantastic. Now we're going to talk about the origins of the word recruit and how this is a bad word and talent acquisition. I'm going to tell this through a story. And you can feel this in a business when this happens. I've owned micro businesses, I've owned small, and now I own a mid-sized organization that has 60 employees and growing into the hundreds. And I can tell you there are these inflection points. You spend so much time pulling anyone you can towards yourself to fill holes in your human capital needs. And it wasn't until in my first agency, there was this tipping point. We realized the power of content marketing, and that content we were putting out in the world, we thought was just to attract prospects. But then we started to notice it changed the velocity and the quality of the candidates who were coming in the door. And then one day this happened. I'm at my desk. We had this brand new office in Midtown Toronto and all these stand-up desks. And we had this beautiful patio. We're on the second floor of a building. And I feel somebody tap me on the shoulder. We didn't have a receptionist. So a lady came through the office, came to my desk, tapped me on the shoulder. And she said, "Hi, my name's Miriam. I've been following you guys online. I watch your content. I love it. I want a job here. I want to work here." And this had never happened to me in my life. And we didn't even have an opening. So I took her into the conference room, met her. We talked about it. She became a sales professional that worked with us for 3 years. She's moved on to an incredible career. Long of the short is it was like a light bulb switch went off. Like I was now attracting talent. So with that, you and I were talking about this offline. You're talking about the origins of the word recruit. Maybe for those that are founders on the call and or the chief revenue, chief marketing officer who we deal with, talk about how a reframe of that word recruit is one of the most fundamental, paramount things they could do.
For sure. And Jamie, you're already hitting on it. Words matter. Words frame thoughts, thoughts frame actions, and you behave accordingly. And when you think about the word recruit and retain, everybody focuses on that. Their heart's in the right place. They're trying to do the right things. But recruitment, if you're talking about recruitment, I believe, in my opinion, you're already failing because, well, let's talk about the origin of the word recruitment. It originates from military term. And we've all seen movies and seen the different aspects of when the military needs new people, they're new recruits. And why do they recruit? Why is it their focus on retention? Well, generally speaking, if you're in the military and serving, and thank you for everyone that is serving, and you get injured, it's hard to retain. You may not be able to operate in the field. That can be fatal, or it can be an injury that prohibits you from performing. And so the only alternative for military is to recruit. That's fine in that context. But what's happened over time is that businesses have adapted this and they've started recruiting with almost that same mindset of, well, I've got my workforce and I'm going to push to get the results that I need. And if I break that workforce, that's okay. I'll recruit. And in essence, when you talk about recruitment, you're already referring to the new people that you're bringing on, that they're replaceable. And that's not really what you want. That's not the workforce you want to develop. What you want to be is a magnet organization. And to be a magnet organization, you have to use the right words, which is about attracting. And it's similar to the story that you mentioned, because when you attract people, you're looking for people who share your values, who have the same passion, the same vision and mission that you're trying to achieve. And then it's no longer work. There's less effort that you have to put to drive things forward. And the world has taught us this. It's shown us this in spades, especially during COVID. When we all think about what transpired during that period of time, you'd be hard pressed to find anybody in any industry whose workforce didn't essentially get decimated when COVID went through and people started to really focus. And you hear the term ramping up. We need to recruit better. We need to retain and we need to recruit. But that's focusing on the majority. That was 99%. What about the 1% that had it right from the outset, that attracted and retained and were those magnet organizations? And I can think of a couple. This isn't all of them, but I think about during that time when I was out and about and I'd go to the Apple store as an example. And I've never seen them short-staffed. Even in the height of COVID, they were fully staffed and their store would be bustling, and their teams were full. Costco, another great example, right in the height of COVID, when they had to ramp up all their new precautions and setting up barriers and all of the above, they had the resources to do it, and they were able to attract more people because they had a waiting list potentially of people that wanted to be there, that shared the values of that culture and the workforce and that environment. And so I go back to the word recruitment. If you're using that term, you need to move away from it, but not just don't talk about attraction and not change the behavior. Start with changing the language and have the behavior follow it. What does it mean to attract? What are the values that you have? And what are the values of the candidate that you want to bring in? And so this leads to the next piece, which is most of the time we focus on that resume, the skill set. They have experience here. They've done this before. They've been here. But are they passionate? Do they have the right affect for what your business is or what your delivery is that you're doing? A lot of the skill set, whether we like to admit it or not, we can teach. You can teach it over time. But if somebody's not passionate about the work that you're doing, the odds are they're not going to become passionate over time. You can't force that passion on somebody. And so there needs to be more focus on attracting the right people who have the right feelings and the right drive for the work that you're doing. And then retention just follows. That amount of work there becomes substantially less, because when you recruit and those mission and vision and values aren't aligned, retention is a lot of work. You're trying to do things that you may not normally do because you're trying to keep them for reasons they don't want to stay. And you keep doing that and you put effort in the wrong places. So focus on attracting, focus on finding the right workforce, the right values, and you'll be better aligned. It'll be a little bit more effortless for you. And in general, I would challenge anybody almost on finding an organization that has a strong culture, a great and happy workforce that provides bad customer service or creates a bad product. You'd be hard pressed to find that. So if your focus is your bottom line on what you're delivering in that service, then focus on the team. Get the right people, attract the right people, build that workplace culture environment, and the results will come. It's inevitable.
And so imagine you're a founder of a business listening to this, and what can we take away from? Let's parking lot Apple, because the first instinct somebody's going to say is, but they have all the resources in the world. Let's actually use Costco, although they're going to lean in on resources, but it's a less sexy industry. What do you think that the Costcos of the world are doing that are applicable to the small business. And then let's actually game theory, pulling out the obvious, let's throw money at the problem, for perks, benefits, and sweeteners. What can a small to medium business owner, chief revenue officer, chief marketing officer do to compete, to be that lighthouse, to attract great talent for their organization?
Great question. So with Costco, what you've always seen there, or at least what I've always experienced, is that they've taken care of the team. They've never made the team feel secondary. And in interactions there that I've had with anyone at any level, you could tell that they knew they played a role. It had an impact. They felt that the organization cared about them. And in turn, they cared about the organization. They cared about the customer service, what they were providing, what it looked like. They had a lot of pride in saying that they work at Costco. And so as a founder or a new business, the key piece, I believe, is going to be about that alignment of the vision. And that is, if you're the founder of, let's talk about a tech startup, and you're doing something in the industry of clean energy, and you're looking for a VP for finance or marketing or whatever it might be, you want those individuals to have a passion for the work that's taking place and want to drive that vision forward and achieve the goals that the organization wants to achieve. I mean, ultimately, as an organization, when you build your strategy, the best way to build a strategy is when you pull the team in and you have everybody feed into it, because then it's their strategy. It's not feeling like I'm delivering on something for someone else. I'm now delivering on something for me. And that's a lot easier when you have alignment in your values and your mission and your vision. And Jamie, listen, we've all been there. I've been there throughout my career in different aspects where I've worked places and I haven't felt that my values were aligned. It's hard. You have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. You go to work because you know you have to, and you want to deliver because maybe you're a high achiever, but you're not putting your heart into it. You go home exhausted and drained, and the rest of your day is almost non-existent. And now, and in other previous roles, I've been places where my values are aligned. And I come in with so much energy. You get out of bed early because you can't wait to get in. The team can sense it. It's contagious that people feel that energy and they want to be part of it. And they don't even, they're starting to push the boundaries of how do they contribute. And so I go back to that very basic thing of whatever your startup is, whatever your vision is, just have a clear idea of it, a very strong message that you can convey, and make sure your candidates are aligned with it. I think that's the most important thing. It's more important than the skill set that you're looking for.
I had this in my early 20s. So I wanted to be a stockbroker my whole life as a kid. My grade 9 job shadow day, wanted to be a stockbroker. I would go into a Bank of Montreal, owned a managed money firm called Burns Fry at the time that turned into Bank of Montreal Nesbitt Burns. So my grade 9 shadow day, my grade 12 shadow day. In university, I volunteered there for 2 years. Then I got summer jobs there. Then I actually became an investment representative. And I was there to see 1999 and early 2000. And I came in, I had the breeches and the whole outfit, and I literally looked like I was in, Wall Street. And then the crash happened, April of 2000, and the dot-com bubble burst. And what I saw was this toxic culture of, unfortunately, the least performing brokers were pushing all this high-tech garbage stock on the customer. And I was watching customers lose tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands. And I remember this one instance where this gentleman had worked his whole life in the federal government, and the stockbroker I was working with was pushing JDS Uniphase and Nortel and all this like high-tech stuff on him. And it ended up liquidating this guy's portfolio, and he had to go back to work in his 60s. And I changed. And I started to hate it and resent the place. And I ended up I remember at night, I would have dreams, like vivid dreams that I could be in a minor car accident on the way to work and I could break an arm and wouldn't have to go in for a while. And I knew I needed to change. Like the fact that I was having these kind of dreams, but I've seen this happen in teammates where they lose faith in the system, they lose faith in their customers, they lose faith in the founder, and whatever it is, and it's a complete and utter checkout. And there's no coming back from that. And I fully agree. As the second point that you said, you can teach people to do almost anything. I can't teach passion. I can't teach motivation. I can't teach grit. Or if you could, they're really hard to teach. But I can teach you how to go from point A to point B and do these steps and actions and so forth. With the time remaining, how do people get a hold of you if they want to learn more about how you've implemented talent acquisition strategies, talent attraction strategies, and also just learn more from you?
For sure, and I wholeheartedly believe that the whole saying around knowledge is power. It's about sharing it. It's not about keeping it to yourself. So I'm happy to share anything. And the best way to link up with me would be through LinkedIn. Just to look me up, Charbel Daniel on LinkedIn, and connect there. Otherwise, I'm happy to get an email at my email address, charbel.daniel@nwood.ns.ca. Happy to answer any questions or support in any way that I can to help you build the team of your dreams.
Fantastic. Well, it's a great pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate being here.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.